that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. All right?
How y'all doing? That's so dope. I had like the whole mindset, we all in a mission moment, and then he come out and propose. I feel like, don't I wait for you now? No, I'm so grateful for what God is doing. And I'm so grateful to see so many people here who just did not just show up for just the concert portion. And before I get into this piece, I just want to say quickly that part of being a missionary is what our life looks like consistently. And a lot of times when we're trying to reach people, they're not necessarily coming to the quote-unquote church. But if we are the only church that people see, and if we are the only church that people know, what are we portraying to the people? So we have to live a life of consistency. Not only that, is our life holy and acceptable before God, because people can think that we're doing a great job in comparison to this world. We have people say, I'll take care of my kids, and you don't get credit for that, like you're supposed to. I ain't had sex in like, okay, that's great. But what is God saying about our heart? And what is God saying about our life? So with that, I'm going to do this piece for you, and it's entitled HippoChristian. This ain't no partial. I'ma give him everything. Take this as a warning, I already know I'm strange. I'm cut from a different cloth, can't explain my DNA, yet you better call a medic, this is an emergency. Cause I've busted out the box, and I've broken all the locks, even escaped the routine of the religious headlocks. They'd be like, wait, this is different, she must be a rebel. That don't sound like gospel, it must be the devil. Check it, I'm laying bricks. I'm following his blueprint. So if you have a problem, blame him that I'm a misfit. I'm laying bricks. I'm following his blueprint. So if you have a problem, blame him that I'm a misfit. So we have to abandon all we have carnally known to be true. Stop altering scripture to find a better fit for you. You candy coat the truth, just like M&M's. Melts in your mouth now, eternal fire in the end. You stick with the lies and you think it's all gravy. So what you think you're getting in because you pledged to Japan and Haiti? Listen. My flesh got an offer to join the losing team. But I'd be a star and individually be supreme. My soul in exchange for benefits and perks. Flying higher than Larry's bird, the best they ever heard. But I chose the winning team, so when my flesh is yearning, gotta cast it down early like James and walk worthy. Too many Reverend Scottie Pippins trying to assist with religious twists. The whole point is missed why the cross even exists. The problems we're facing are bigger than race, denomination, or Guitar Hero Extreme Expert on PlayStation 3 and 1. Father, Spirit, Son, one Lord, one faith, one baptism. He did it all for you. Tortured and bruised for you. He even knew before he came what he had to go through. And still he came just for you. A spat in face for you. Exposed bones, torn flesh, and open back for you. A crown of thorns for you. Hail, King of the Jews. Mocked, rejected, despised, all just for you. Oh yes, the nails went through his feet and hands for you. Father, into thy hands his last breath for you. A guilt offering, a ransom made just for you. But what you fail to understand is that it should have been you. Because we are guilty. Lord knows we're filthy. I mean, you know the things you did. I mean, I'm saying, come on, feel me. God, my Father, sent his Son the way, the truth, and the light. And the best way to thank him was with the way you lived your life. So can you withstand this fire? Can you withstand this pain? Did you come to fight or not? It's real easy to complain. Though he slay, yet will I trust. Are you ready for this level? And yes, it is the will of God, so please don't blame the devil. This pain is the will of God, so please don't blame the devil. This thorn is the will of God, so please don't blame the devil. If righteousness is as filthy rags, then I'm sure you could smell the stench. It's sick. It's undeniably your light shining like a flame with no wick, and gas done got too high, so you've been riding on fumes. On the way your gauge is broken, on the way your mind's consumed. Yes, stopping to fill up has been long overdue. About to be on the traffic jam, freeway of life, assuming you're doing God's will, totally unaware your anointing been left and passed you by. See, the problem is thinking that the life we live is just a solvable equation. Good deeds squared equals heaven. Give or take a few life modifications, thinking you ain't gotta live like you just got out of incarceration with 10 years probation, figuring after a huge sin is the time for consecration. We want to complain about the church and how they're full of greed, but we don't want the responsibility of having to lead, because we're spiritually knock-kneed and afraid to bleed when they're sharing the joy but never the suffering. So let's agree to just agree, according to Scripture, not based on the doctrine or manual of Reverend Sister or Dr. Mister. Let's agree to be expedient about being obedient and to stop using excuses as one of our main ingredients. Excuse. Do we not know the tree by the fruit? And you haven't produced, so don't question why you're drying up when you're simply of no use. Excuse. The sisters are saying, we ain't really having sex, we only almost did it. Besides, I know he's the one. The brothers are saying, man, of course it didn't count, man. I didn't even come, let us adore. Is this what Sunday's for? Pimp my saint, we are all tricked out like some fleshly whores. Can't wait for recess and the rush to go play it safe, because, wait, better yet, you're not even in the game, because by wearing the jersey, you get to perpetrate like you're on the team just the same. But now jerseys have gone to mass production, but they're not authentic. Christians look so much like the world, it's hard to tell the difference. We got leaders who are passive and turn their backs on God's standard to increase the masses. No need in asking what the lesson is. They're preaching non-offensive messages, because tax write-offs and building funds are more important than finding out where heaven is. But it comes back to us, because we say we want truth, but some of us would rather be sermonized with lies so we're not offended and so our egos don't get bruised. Instead of holding up the standard, they'd rather seduce, turning sanctuaries in 106 and Park in order to get the youth. Instead of calling a sin, they're caressing the wounds, trying to make the flesh comfortable so the church is not misconstrued as being rude. But whose report will you believe? Christ turned over the tables and said, my house is a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves, but you've been deceived. The demon that you're fighting will fall no matter how many times you blast it. It's not until you on the battlefield that you realize you're shooting blanks and your sword is made of plastic. The situation is drastic, but not too much adds up when you figure only what you did for Christ lasted. We may not be in Iraq, but we are at war. So if you don't come to fight, then what are you here for? Seriously, like for real, get off the field, because while you tap dance in Sambo, blood is being spilled. This battle right here was not designed for the weak, or for the ones who are so quick to yell retreat, or for the ones whose backs turn like techniques, or for the ones who never listens when he tells you to speak. So, if your flesh is mad, then that's great, because I was sent to upset it. I pray the words pierced and you never forget it. And if they ask you who said it, you can tell them genetics, and if they still don't comprehend, then they can go to the Father and get it.